I used to be the tears accompanying the pain of heartbreak, doubt.
Hello everyone, my name is Vernisa.
Hey y'all, this is Jen.
And this is our podcast,
Speak
Speak Up. What's up, Jen?
Hey girl.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm good. Glad we made it to episode 34.
Oh my gosh, this thing just keeps getting older and older.
Yes, time is just flying. For those of you that don't know, me and Jen are best friends, and we created this podcast to use our voices to motivate people to overcome life's challenges through self-love and respect.
Yep, self-love and respect, two very important things that we're always going to be talking about in our episodes.
Yes, I completely agree. So Jen, what is our title today?
Today our episode is called Be Honest with Yourself.
I like that. I think we should always be honest with
Right.
ourselves, with other people too, but mainly with yourself. Honestly, the direction that we're taking with this, the theme of the episode is self-reflection, which is a very, very, very important topic. So, you know, we always read on our Google tip as usual. So self-reflection basically is meditation or serious thought about one's character, actions, and motives.
Ooh, I like that. I feel like it gets straight to the point, and I think the part that I like the most about this was that it says serious thought about one's character. You know, it's one thing to say, oh, I shouldn't have done this or said this, but it's another to like actually reflect on it and, you know, really seriously think about it and be like, you know what, damn, I messed up. There's something I gotta change or whatever. So I think it's really important for us to talk about this today.
Honestly, self-reflection too, I love it because it allows you to see things from a different perspective. Like you're not just looking at what you were thinking when you were acting the way you were doing what you're doing. You're also seeing like, how did I make others feel? You know, you're able to put yourself into other people's shoes. Like, okay, this definitely wasn't their problem. I had something going on, and I you know, it's important for me to sit and do that. It ain't even just with like something that you said to a person, something that you did to a person. It's just really like reflecting on your whole life in itself. Like, you know, why are you feeling the way that you feel when you wake up every morning? You know,
That's
so
true.
it's very important. Why would you say it's important though?
Well, I would say it's important because, like you were saying, you know, if you're unhappy with like something in your life or the way things are going, or like, you know, you notice that you're reacting a certain way to like, you know, certain people, maybe it's time to reflect on why. You know, like if you notice that you get jealous every time somebody around you is succeeding or something, you know, it's like, well, why do I feel that way? Is it because I haven't accomplished my own dreams or whatever? If you don't reflect on that, you're not going to know, right? So I think it's really important because then you're able to really sit down and figure out, what do I want? You know, why am I feeling this way? And get to know a part of yourself that maybe you had never taken the time to get to know.
Yeah, and to add on that, like you said, you're getting to know yourself better, and I think you're allowing yourself to be more organized. You know, it's just like when we're doing, you know, we have tasks to do in a day, we make a list and stuff. I think it's important we do that with ourselves also, because sometimes we could get out of whack as being human beings. Like, you know, we're always on the go, we're always busy. We have things that we went through, things that healing that we put to the side. So sometimes that just, after a while, it just grows and grows, and then you finally pop one day, you're like, what's going on? So I think it's important, like, to do that on a constant basis.
That's true, and that's why, you know, when you don't do it, you feel all out of whack. You feel like disconnected, maybe from the people around you, maybe even from yourself, like even from your life, because you feel like, you know, you're not paying attention to what's actually going on in your life. You're just kind of, you know, going with the motions or whatever people say. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that happens when we're not self-reflecting. Like, we're just kind of waking up in the same routine, dissatisfied. You know, and sometimes even if you are on track or even if you are self-reflecting, these things may still happen, but maybe not on a consistent basis. You know, instead you're like, okay, I know what went wrong here, I know how I can fix it, or I think I know how I can fix it, and just keep pushing forward versus just keep going and not ever dealing with whatever just happened.
I agree with that. And me and Jen speak heavy on bleeding on others. That's a no-no. Like, I don't care whatever it is you're going through. Bleeding on others is not the way to go. So I feel like self-reflection can help prevent that, because you're figuring out what it is, and then like it won't happen again. Like, we're not perfect. There's gonna be days where you slip up. You might be snappy with somebody, take something out on somebody, but then when you check yourself in that moment, it won't happen again. You're able to take accountability and apologize to how you were acting. You know, it's a different flow that comes with it, and I feel like that's a sign of growth and maturity.
Yeah, so when you don't self-reflect, you're actually stunting that growth. Like, if you're wondering, you know, why you're still feeling the same way about certain things or certain people, you know, you're not really writing goals down or anything, like you're kind of just stuck. It may be take time to self-reflect and find out like what hasn't been working and why do I continue to do this. You know, I mean, I was guilty of this maybe for a little while. I think after college, like I was kind of lost and not knowing where I wanted to go with life. So, you know, after about maybe a few months of feeling this way, I was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I need to actually sit down and figure out where I want my life to go. At that point, like I changed jobs, I really got back into my fitness journey. You know, I started changing group of friends that I had. So it's like, if I hadn't actually taken the time to sit down with myself and really figure out why I was dissatisfied, I would have never even gotten to where I am right now. So this is why it's important, because like your life, there's a post that says you're always one decision away from a different life, and I feel like that really relates to self-reflection.
Yeah, you're giving yourself that time and space to heal. It's like Erykah Badu said in his song "Bag Lady, Pack Light." You know, we carry all this baggage with us, and sometimes it's not even just like emotions from like a past relationship. It's sometimes old trauma, like from, you know, that you grew up with, like you're oblivious about until one day, like, you know, it starts appearing in different, and sometimes too, people take that shit with them to work. Like it ain't even just in relationships. You can, you know, you could be that coworker that's always bitter, things like that, and that really comes from a lack of self-reflection, because you're just carrying it with you anywhere you go. You could be that angry customer at Starbucks, you know, having an attitude when you order your drink because you got all this other stuff you ain't dealt with yet, but you're not taking that time to self-reflect. So, you know, I feel like this is a heavy theme that me and Jen focus on with this show, because we want, you know, like we want to like really just talk about how to debunk all that, so we're not walking around carrying all those unneeded emotions. You know, I'm not saying that your emotions aren't valid, but we all have a job and working on our own stuff, so we can be the best version of ourselves that we can be.
And I think, you know, when we're making this video, we're stuck in quarantine. So I think this is the perfect time to start self-reflecting. Even if there's nothing else you can really do other than just sit down with yourself and, you know, ask yourself, was what I was doing before working? You know, was I just kind of going in the same routine, just like kind of throwing my life away, or, you know, just kind of looking forward to the weekend versus looking forward to tomorrow, or looking forward to the rest of my day today. You know, there's a big difference between like actually enjoying your days and then just going through the days until you can actually just enjoy your weekend. Well, why does it have to be like that? Why can't you enjoy every single moment? And I think with this quarantine, like it's really important to do that, because our days are kind of just running together. You know, whether you're working from home or not, or you have a family or not, we kind of feel like we don't know what day it is anymore. So I think it's important to still self-reflect in the shower, you know, actually write down some things when you're self-reflecting, self-reflect when you meditate. You know, we'll get more into like different methods later, but like I think it's really important to do it regardless how you do it.
Yeah, like I feel like this quarantine, it can make or break you, you know. So I feel like, you know, I've been seeing a lot of posts like people complaining about it, like, oh, what do I do next, but it's like, okay, it's happening, but make that time useful. And like, I'm not saying you gotta go make $1 million, you know, be extreme. It doesn't take that much work to self-reflect. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, you at least owe that to yourself. But this is the time to sit with yourself and really get to know yourself. Even if you are working from home, you're still at home. You know, I feel like we, you know, when we're busy with our constant day, whether it is at work or if we're running a business outside of our home, or if we're always out and about, you don't ever have that time to stay grounded. So it's like, what's our excuse now? Like, use it and, you know, become a better person after this quarantine, because it's nothing like that time to self-reflect.
And then, I don't know about you, but I really want to get to know me. Like, you know, yes, meeting new people is always fun or whatever, but why not meet the person I get to, you know, literally sleep with every single day, be myself, you know, or like the person I get to wake up to every single morning, which is still me. Like, I still got to do this for me. I still got to get to know my character. So with self-reflection, that is one of the best ways to get to know you. You know, be that best friend that you probably never had, if you're not as lucky as I am, you know. Right, we should have screenshot that part. Yeah, but, you know, like, you still have your whole life, even if you got a great support system or whatever. Like, you still have to take care of you and make sure that your mentality is there. And I think this is really important, because no matter what you go through in life, you still have this body, you still have this mind that you have, you know, and it's all about what you're gonna do with whatever life throws at you. And if you're not self-reflecting, you're just kind of gonna go with your gut reaction versus like a more logical standpoint.
That is so true. And also with this quarantine, some of us are spending time with our family that we don't even get to spend. So it's like, even self-reflect on what kind of family member you are, or how are you, what kind of husband, what kind of wife you are, what kind of parent you are. Like, it's deeper than, you know, because I feel like we're so stuck with our job roles, like whatever occupation we do, whatever we do for entrepreneur, you know, or whatever we don't work, we're kind of lost in that role Monday through Friday mostly, whatever. But now that you are home with your family, you spend, you know, the kids aren't even at school anymore, so right now, so what are you doing in that time? You know, get to know your kids, reflect on them, have them self-reflect, you know, and just focus on being the best, whatever you want to be, whether if it is a spouse or a parent. I just wanted to add that in here. Real.
No, I agree. I mean, get to know all the roles that you play in life. Like you said, what kind of family member are you, parent, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But then also, what kind of person are you to yourself? Like, are you beating yourself up every single day, or are you actually applauding yourself? Like, yes, you may not be where you want to be or where you thought you would be, but you've come this far. The fact that, like, you're still under a roof during a quarantine, you know, or you still get to wake up every single day with, you know, relatively good health, like, I think that's a lot to be grateful for. And if you're not reflecting on the things you do still have versus what you've lost or what you were planning on working on, because yeah, let's be real, this quarantine put a lot of things on hold for a lot of us, you know, even for us. But the thing is, it's all about, you know, reflecting on, okay, you know, I just got to change the path a little bit, you know, I just got to hold it out a little bit longer. But this is more of a time to slow down. And I think with self-reflecting, it's really important to just slow down, take advantage of this slowness going on in the world, you know?
Yeah, like, honestly, take the time to face yourself. You know, yeah, me and Jen did this show, you know, we want to spread positivity and awareness to the world, but shoot, I'm gonna be real, Jen and I both during this quarantine, we've been forced to face ourselves too. Like, we still have things we fight every day. Yeah, we may not always speak about it, but, you know, me and Jen are human also, and that's the thing, it's a constant thing, and, you know, it's not going to happen overnight. And people think, oh, okay, yeah, like, whatever, I spent the day with myself today, like, I'm good, no, you have to constantly do it. And be patient with yourself through it, because we have a lot of things that we've endured in our life that we probably did, you know, blank out, you know, block out and don't even think about, you know. But it's like this, I'm pretty sure a lot of things are coming up for a lot of people. And I'm pretty sure y'all getting a lot of texts from people you ain't talked to in a while too, hint, trying to, you know, come back or, you know, whatever, hey, apologize, hey, big heads and all that. No, like, if through someone that you already like left in the past and you know why, don't use this time to be vulnerable either. You know, honestly, stay true to yourself, stay strong through this. Yeah, be forgiving and loving, but, you know, make sure, you know, you're making nice, planned out rational decisions.
Yeah, and I know it's something traumatic that we're all collectively going through, like, you know, being forced to be with yourself or at home, or you don't know what's going to happen to you economically or something. I understand, you know, this is something I'm still very worried about too, because we don't know how it's going to come out at the end of this. But the thing is, like, I can't just let myself sit in fear. What, I'm gonna let myself deal with somebody from the past because they help distract me from everything that's going on? That sounds good for now, but in the long run, is that going to help me? I'm just going to reopen old wounds that I had already been working on, continue to still work on as well. And then for what? For like 2 moments of pleasure, or, you know, just old conversations, you know, reminiscing about the past. Why? I thought we wanted to move forward, you know. Just because life has slowed down doesn't mean we got to backtrack. It just means we're going to have to move forward at a very different pace, and maybe a much slower pace than we wanted to. But I think this is really a time for you to focus on you. No matter what kind of role you have in life or whatever, what role do you play for you?
Yeah, and honestly, self-reflection is painful. And what Jen was just saying, doing all that, you're just allowing yourself to keep numbing the process. And you're not going to heal or reflect efficiently if you're constantly numbing it or just finding something to be distracted. Think about it. With our daily lives, we're distracted all the time. That's why a lot of us have a lot of self-reflection. I'm guilty of it. I have a lot that I haven't worked on because of my busy schedule and things like that. But no, this gave me the time to get grounded in that. So what I want to say is, it's like going to the gym. Like, you know, when it's painful, that's when the muscle comes in. You have to look at self-reflection the same way. It's a painful process, but just know you're getting stronger and stronger, and you're working on yourself in the process.
No, absolutely. You know, during this whole thing, like, I've realized self-reflection is important in all relationships, really. You know, yeah, we keep emphasizing work on you, always work on you. I mean, there's a reason it's called self-reflection, but like, reflect on every single relationship you have in your life or have had. like during this time, I've really been deconstructing, I would say, every single relationship I've ever had, not just romantically, but like I've been reflecting on my relationship with my biological dad, like I've been reflecting on my relationships with us, between us or whatever, and also just on men I've dated or have come across or talked to or whatever you want to call it, and I've realized more of what I've learned from them, what I want, what I don't want, what I don't want myself to look like, or be like. But I've noticed that it's important to do that as a whole thing. If you want to be more of a holistic person who's healing, you got to work on every single relationship. It can't just be the romantic ones or just family or whatever. I don't care if you're single as the last Pringle in the box right now, you got to still reflect on everything you've ever gone through up until this point.
That is so true. And even reflect on the relationships, like old friendships and that ended. Like, if you weren't the problem, or you had certain flaws in the relationship, look at how it ended, how'd you handle the situation, and just use that as guidance for your next relationships. So it's like, okay, I don't ever do that again, because sometimes too we'll end on a bad note with somebody, and some of it was our fault, and was F them, fuck them, and just kind of like let it slide, and then do the same repeating pattern when we meet another friend or meet another spouse or come in contact with another family member, and then it's like it's just a repeating cycle because you're refusing to take that accountability and self-reflect. So it is very essential. It's like, I feel like it ain't just important to relationship with yourself, but with all relationships in your life, even with your co-workers, people that you see every day. The way you act when you go to the store, like the way you act at a restaurant. I miss going to restaurants, by the way. But you know what I'm trying to say? So it's just very important. You just want to be sorry, I'm gonna make one over here now. It's just important to work on it every day, because as a human being, I just think we all deserve to be the best versions of ourselves, regardless.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you bring up a really good point where it's like, if you were the one at fault, or mostly at fault, because every relationship takes two no matter what, but like if you knew you were genuinely a fucked up person to this other person, whether it was as a friend, a romantic partner, family member, whatever, use this time to really be like, I kind of shouldn't, or I shouldn't have done that. Not even kind of. Like, the thing with self-reflection also is that you got to be brutally honest with yourself. You can't just be like, oh, well, I guess it was my fault, and then moving forward. No, that's bullshit. Like, this episode is called Be Honest with Yourself. You are the only person you can't lie to. So you need to really get deep down into the roots and figure out, why am I acting this way? Is it something dissatisfying with myself, or is it because I realize I get triggered by certain things, or there's just a lot of shit in my past that, I'm dumping on other people? I'm sorry, it's gonna get really ugly and really hard, but the thing is, it's not supposed to be pretty. What's pretty is the person you come out to be afterwards, but if you're not doing any of the work of the, picking at the flaws and really realizing, why it's happening and everything, you're never gonna get to find out what the best version of you looks like.
That is so true. And Jen and I practice self-reflection in a lot of different ways. Like, sometimes too, even if it's just you sitting alone in your room just thinking, like, as simple as that, literally just playing a scenario in your head and just getting to the bottom of it, and just realizing, why did I act like that? Sometimes another efficient way is writing things down. Write down things that trigger you. Write down some pain. And I ain't gonna lie, I had a couple moments where, like, I don't even know how to explain this. I had a couple moments where I had certain behavior, like I was, I caught myself like beating myself up for certain things, but I didn't know why, and I had to really get to the root. Where is this coming from? Why am I, feeling like this? Why am I treating myself like this? And then when I really did, I took that time, let myself cry, let myself, talk it out. I came to the conclusion why, and I was able to heal from that. And everything I recommend is just talking about it. If you have a close friend that you really trust, like Jen is mine, for example, we really have long discussions about things that's happened in our life, and we help each other through it. Sometimes it doesn't always happen alone. Sometimes, you can sit for yourself second, but sometimes you have to get it out first with somebody, and then take that time to yourself to get deeper into it. How do you practice self-reflection?
Yeah, definitely. Well, can't do this right now at the moment, but one of my favorite ways to practice self-reflection was in the sauna. Like, after a really rigorous workout, I would just meditate, to some like music, and I would just reflect on everything in my life. But since I can't do that right now, out in public, I do still meditate though on a regular basis. And I feel like this quarantine has helped me practice more meditation and like longer meditations. Back then my meditations would be like 5 minutes because that's all the time I had or whatever. But now like I've allowed myself to meditate for up to 30 minutes, and I've discovered a lot of things about myself, like, even a lot of what, others would call flaws or whatever, but I really just embrace them as like my unique qualities that, they may not be the best parts of me, but they're still a part of me that I'm very proud of to have figured out, so meditating is definitely one of them. Personally, what else do I do? Well, I like to do like a lot of girly things like face masks and stuff like that. So like I like to, sit with myself while I'm doing this stuff, or like painting my nails or something. I kind of just like to think about past situations or past things I've said or done, whether they were embarrassing or ugly or whatever. And that's just my moment because I'm already taking care of myself physically. I've decided, let me take care of myself mentally and emotionally, and then I'll have like some music in the background or something. So it's not necessarily meditating, but it's still just sitting there practicing physical self-care as well as mental self-care.
That's great. And yeah, y'all, meditation is wonderful, by the way, because you really are like deep inside your thoughts. Like I recommend that. And like Jim was saying, the hobbies, like, like if you like to draw, you like to write. I like to write poetry. So that's another way too, like to literally write everything out, like how fun. And the one thing about poetry, you guys, people think it has to sound good, it has to be performed. Not all poetry is performed, it's all art. So however you want to express yourself, that is completely fine. If you like to draw, if you don't think it looks good, it's still a hobby. So something, if it relaxes you, do it. I also like to have a feel good playlist. Like there's certain songs like I just like, Jen knows I have, like a lot of my songs I just like, and like I'll just play those songs that'll make me feel good and make me just really allow me to sit there and feel good in the process, so it doesn't hurt as bad, but I'm still allowing myself to take that time. And honestly, y'all, self-reflection looks different for everybody. We're all different people, we have different interests, and we all cope with things differently. So don't feel like you have to do exactly what me and Jen are saying. Like if you have something that makes you feel a way that you like to deal with your own situations, that's completely fine. We're just like expressing what we like to do and how we got through past traumas that we've dealt with.
Yeah. I was gonna say, meditation's not for everybody. Like even for me in the beginning, I was like, I can't just sit here, for 20 minutes and not do anything and just be alone with my thoughts. Like that sounds scary. Take a walk in your neighborhood. You're still allowed to do that. Even if you want to take it by yourself or whatever, wear your mask, of course. But like, do that for you. Even if you're playing music in the background, just kind of think about life. Think about this day. Like just. If it's scary to reflect back on everything in your past, or even as far back as like 5 years ago or a year ago, reflect back on yesterday. Shoot, how do I want to make today different and better than yesterday? Like, I think that's a really good way to start because you're taking baby steps. So literally take a walk outside for like maybe 10, 15 minutes, depending on your area where you're at. I don't know if there's limitations or not, but, I think that's one really good way to do it. Feel good playlists as well. Maybe you want to play like a mind stimulating game. There's a lot of like hobbies out there that allow you to play these games that allow you to think and stuff like that. Use that moment, like when you're taking a break from the game or something, reflect on something and then get back to the game or whatever. Like there's so many different ways to self-reflect. Like for me, drawing is one of them. When I like don't want to just sit there, I love to just draw. And like personally, I'll put all of my reflections into my drawing, and I think that's like when the most beautiful art pieces come out. Like, I'm sure you with your poetry, that's when the best poetry just comes out. It's like coming from the heart, coming whether it's with a lot of joy, a lot of pain, whatever feelings you're dealing with at that moment. It's just something that you get to physically put onto something.
Beautiful. And honestly, y'all, this relates to self-love because, you're giving yourself that time to sit with yourself and just to think and just to become a better you. We all deserve that. This is all part of self-love, it's just like when a parent, is giving tough love to their child, like telling, teaching their kids how to, like shaping them into a great person. You're shaping yourself. You're like disciplining yourself in a healthy way, and you're allowing yourself to, be the best version of yourself. I have to keep emphasizing best version of yourself because that's really what self-reflection is all about.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I don't know about you, but I want to get to know her. I want to get to know what the best version of Jen looks like, feels like, is attracted to, whatever. And then that's the thing, when you start doing better within yourself and actually getting to know yourself, you get to attract better people, better relationships, healthier, more stable ones. Like, I promise it's not boring, because I've had like even toxic friendships before, and there's a lot that I had to work on within myself as a friend as well, and then which allowed me to meet, my best friend a few years later. So it's like, it's always possible to just be better than you were yesterday. It takes a long time, and you might piggyback, especially if there's like a lot of things emotionally that you haven't dealt with. But the thing is, every time you take a step forward, allow yourself to congratulate you. Shit, pat yourself on the back. You're a damn badass for not letting that day destroy you, when, especially like if you're dealing with a really bad breakup or something, like take it day by day. If you've just let go of a really good friend, take it day by day. Or you lost somebody, take it day by day. Like, it's not going to be easy if you just overwhelm yourself, like, oh, well, I know what I want to do in a year or 5 years or whatever. Don't we all, or don't we all wish we knew what we wanted to do? But at the end of the day, it's not going to happen that way. We're going to have ups and downs along the way. Of course, life is a damn roller coaster. But it's just a matter of like doing better than yesterday, and then just knowing that there's nothing I can do about yesterday anymore, so let me move forward.
That's so true. And going off of what you said, attracting better, you won't just only attract better, but you also be able to help people too. You'll be able to be a good teacher, because you know what it feels like to be in that space and know how to, fix yourself and get past whatever it is. And you can also spread that knowledge to others, I feel like knowledge shouldn't be kept a secret. I think it's important to, teach others too, because sometimes somebody could be going through what you were just going through, but when you heal through it, you can be that shining light and that example, to help somebody get through whatever. And also you'll be more satisfied with yourself. I feel like when you don't self-reflect, you're more likely to have that negative self-talk. You're more likely to put yourself down. You're more likely to fall in a hole that you can't get out of. But when you're constantly doing self-reflecting and working on yourself, no one can tell you shit, because in a day you know what you've been through, you know where you're going, and you're able to pour more love and positivity into yourself.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to make a clear distinction. There's a difference between self-reflection and just ruminating. So if you're one of those type of people who's just always thinking about your past and like, I should have done this, and you're always just dissatisfied, you're not where you wanted to be at, that's ruminating. That is one of the most detrimental things you can do to your health, because not only are you just living in your past, but you're neglecting your present. So you're not even moving forward. So these next 24 hours ahead of you, what are you going to do? Just think about what you could have done, what you should have done, and life should have been this and all that stuff? Or are you just going to be like, you know what? Things didn't turn out the way I wanted them to, but I could always change it. I could always change where I'm going, right? We don't get to determine what family we're born into, or, what kind of people we run across in life, and then who we end up trusting and then getting betrayed by or betraying, whatever. But we do have the choice to move forward from all of that. Like, if you went through a really bad experience in life, okay, let me be better, let me move forward, and then just decide that I learned my lesson from this, but I'm looking forward to the future.
That's so true. Also, y'all, make it a regular habit, because that way when you make it a regular habit, you're not allowing things to fester and grow, like, so if it is daily, monthly, or weekly, just add it into your routine somehow, some way, because some people have gone years without self-reflecting, and then wonder why, like, we're in the space that we're in. But when you constantly are checking up, it's like you're checking in with yourself, just making sure you're okay. That's really pretty much like what we're pushing here in this episode.
Yeah, self-reflection on all levels is important. Self-reflect on the past 5 years and then the next 5 years. And if that's too scary, go on the year back, year forward. If that's too much, monthly, weekly, daily, whatever is comfortable for you. But there's gonna have to be a point where you are gonna have to deal with stuff in your past and what you want to do moving forward as well. So it's like, okay, let's take it day by day, but once you've accomplished that, start working on weekly and then monthly. You know, I'm currently at the monthly stage where it's like, okay, you know, it's not so scary anymore to think 6 months from now, where do I want to be? You know, a year from now, where do I want to be? I currently just started working on my 5-year plan, you know, like revamping it and really figuring out where I want to go. But the thing is, it took some time for me to get there. I'm not even going to lie and say, oh yeah, I've always known how to self-reflect. No, it was scary. It was hard. I didn't want to do it at first. I was like, what? You mean I got to deal with shit that I dealt with when I was 21, 20 years old? No. Like, but the thing is, I have to, because I'm not that person anymore. And I'm hoping to not still be this person when I'm in my 30s, you know, or 40s moving forward. Like, I definitely don't want to continue being this person. I'm proud of this Jen because she's gone through a lot, and, you know, I'm much happier now, but I also don't want to just stay stuck where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you're basically just using it to see like where you are and how far you want to go. And I feel like self-reflection makes that path more clear for you, because when you're not self-reflecting, you're basically in a blurry cloud, you know. But when you done worked on that shit from the past, and now you can now have that 2020 vision looking forward, and you can now make healthier decisions going forward, because the same shit you were taking with you isn't no longer coming with you anymore. So like I said, you're letting go of that baggage, and you can move, you know, in a healthier and better way.
Yeah. Just because 2020 took us for a loop, you guys, doesn't mean we still can't have 2020 vision.
Yes.
You know? I know
see shit very clear.
For real. Like, I know it's been really hard for all of us. You know, I think globally we're all feeling this. But I think this is more of a time that we have to sit with ourselves, you know, because I think a lot of us weren't dealing with things, and we're kind of destroying relationships, destroying people along the way, you know, without even realizing it. You might have been destroying yourself without even realizing it. And the thing is, if you never take the time to sit down, you're just never going to be satisfied in life. You know, I'm not saying you're going to be perfect after you self-reflect and you realize where shit came from. No, like, we're not aiming to be perfect. We're just aiming to be better. I aim to be a better version of myself every single day. But I still cuss people out, you know, I still make mistakes. I still say things I shouldn't say, do things I shouldn't do. But it's like, I don't do it with the same intention that I used to do it before. I'm not a bad person, though. I'm not trying to make it seem that way.
What she's trying to say is, like, self-reflection in the day will help you believe in yourself and help and basically equip you to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. So, you know, y'all just keep that in mind, because you have to believe in yourself to do anything in life. And if you are still living in the past and stuck there and not healing from it, you're never going to move forward. So this is just a good tool to help you, you know, just equip you for the future.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the best way to start wrapping this up is by saying what, you know, Ice Cube always tells us: you better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Facts.
Right?
He
knows what he's talking about. Yep.
Yeah, literally that right there. Just to sum up this episode: check yourself before you wreck yourself. Facts.
I think it's important because, yeah, like I said, you don't know. You might have been the cause of your own dissatisfaction and destruction. So if you never take time to work on that, you're just going to continue going down that same path
and shattering other people along the way.
Yeah.
We hope y'all all enjoyed this episode. Shout out to Never Not an Extra Podcast, to the lovely ladies on there. Y'all
they
amazing.
Are awesome.
Check out their show on the Good News Radio. Download their app. They have an app. The Good News Radio has an app. They air, Never Not Extra airs Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. Tune into them. Also, check out our Podbean website at speakupjv.podbean.com. We're also on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on apparently iHeartRadio. And also, if you're watching us visually, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have more content coming y'all way.
Yeah, this quarantine ain't stopping nobody, but we need your guys' support in order for us to continue.
Yes, we appreciate every single one of y'all. Have a good one.
Thank y'all.